Hello and welcome to Miniature Addiction Club. Today I'm going to be making these adorable little cushions and rug which I will be using in my bohemian style room box. I printed them using Inkjet compatible fabric sheets and I'll be making the rug first. Now you can buy PDF printables off Etsy, however I decided to make my own. To do this I found some high resolution photographs of different rugs in my chosen style. Then I pasted them into Photoshop, which allowed me to adjust the size and colouring of the rugs, as well as adding a coloured border around the edges of each rug. I also did a couple of test prints on paper first, to make sure I was happy with the size and colour before printing them on the fabric. The fabric sheets I chose to use are by Avery, and are suitable for inkjet printers. The pack I bought has 5 A4 sheets that have an iron-on adhesive backing. After checking which way up I needed to place the fabric sheet in my printer, I printed off my rug designs. I could fit 2 large 12th scale rugs on one A4 sheet. This was my first time using printable fabric and I'm really happy with the results. The colour and detail are perfect and it has a nice fabric texture. Next, I cut out my rug as neatly as I could. The sheets are very thin and flexible, and you can see the iron-on adhesive on the back. I decided to utilise the adhesive backing by attaching some fabric to make the fringing. I am using a scrap of some heavy cotton that has this fluffy selvage edge. I measured out half of the length of my rug and cut 2 pieces with some extra width either side. Next, I lined up the 2 pieces so that they joined in the middle of the rug, creating the fringing on the 2 short ends. And now I'm just taping the 2 pieces together so they don't move. Then I can go ahead and line up my rug on top. Then, using my iron, I am gently pressing it all over the rug, making sure to keep the iron moving so I don't put too much heat on any one area. But in saying that, I'm also focusing on the edges as I don't want any corners lifting up. Always follow the instructions and temperature settings specific to the fabric you are using, as brands may vary. Then, once it had bonded successfully, I could trim away the excess fabric. I used a craft knife and a metal ruler to get a nice straight edge. I'm really happy with how the rug turned out and I love the added detail of the fringing. The heavy cotton on the back also helps to weigh it down and it sits nice and flat. Next, I made some cushions and I couldn't decide what pattern I liked best, so I just printed off a bunch of different ones. Once again, I altered the sizes in Photoshop and added a coloured border around each one to act as the seam allowance. This way, if any of the seams show, you only see the matching colour and not the stark white of the fabric sheet. Now, as I'm not intending to iron these onto anything, I went ahead and removed the backing. I was able to separate the 2 layers and peel off the adhesive backing, so I was just left with the fabric. Then I cut out all of the cushions and went through my fabric stash to pick out some matching fabric for the backing. I cut out some squares the same size as the ones I had printed. Then I placed the printed cushion and the backing fabric face to face and sewed along 3 of the edges, leaving the bottom edge open. You could sew these by hand, but I wanted that sweet dopamine boost, and machine sewing is much faster. Once I had stitched the 3 sides together, I trimmed off some of the seam allowance, removing any unnecessary bulk from the sides and corners. Then I turned the cushions right side out and used the rounded end of a paintbrush to gently ease out the corners. While I was digging through my fabric stash, I found this scrap of textured fabric which I thought looked like miniature macrame. So I turned it into a cushion as well. To stuff the cushions, I chopped up all of my offcuts and scraps of fabric. I like to do this as it uses up any waste, and it also gives a more realistic weight to the cushions than hobby fill. Then, once they were filled, I folded the final seam together and hand-stitched along the bottom of the cushion to close the opening. And there we have the finished cushions. These really were so much fun to make. I love making tiny cushions, and being able to print my own fabric is a game changer. It's really easy to use, and now I can create my own textile patterns if I can't find what I'm looking for. Here are the finished pieces in my room box. I think they really bring the room together. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please leave a like or a comment below, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. I'm getting so close to 10,000 subscribers, which I can't believe, so thank you all so much for supporting my channel so far. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.